Hi, thanks for joining us. I'm CJ Atkins, the managing editor of People's World. My co-host is Taryn Favek, who's our correspondent based in New York. Our guest this evening is Layana Khoury. She serves on the editorial board of AlIttihad, which is the Arabic language newspaper of the Communist Party of Israel. Layana was due to join us in Chicago at our People's World 100th anniversary celebration a few weeks ago, but was unable to travel at the last minute. But we didn't want to miss out on the opportunity to hear from the insights and the perspectives that she has working as a journalist in Israel and in the middle of this war in Gaza. Layana is based in Haifa. She has a degree in neuroscience and is working on a graduate degree in science. Formerly, she was a member of the Central Committee of the Communist Youth League of Israel and a former international relations coordinator for that organization. She was also a former activist with Hadash Students Branch. She's been an editor at the newspaper since July 2020, but has also been engaged in research and teaching and work full-time alongside that. So thanks for joining us, Layana.
Thank you for
We
having
want
me.
to start off just by asking you a question of how did you become a journalist? How did you get involved in this field of doing reporting and recording the events that are going on there?
Mhm. Well, my comrades asked me to write a report about the Nakba ceremony back in 4 years ago. So I wrote one and I sent it to Al-Ittihad, and they asked me to be a volunteer in Al-Ittihad as a student. So a couple of months later, they asked me to officially be a journalist in Al-Ittihad, and from that I work with my comrades in Al-Ittihad.
So, how is it exactly, Liana, that you became sort of politically active? Because it's one thing to be a journalist and just report on the news, but it's quite another thing to write for Al-Ittihad, which I think is the most widely read Arabic Marxist newspaper, if I'm not mistaken. How is it that you became
Mhm.
politically involved, though?
Mm. Okay, I think it started in my childhood when I attended a summer camp that the Communist Youth League were preparing for, and then in the summer camp I had the chance to learn a lot of the Palestinian case and the labor case, and as a child it was really interesting for me to hear about the political issues in a good way, like for children. So after a while, when I was in my high school, and during the history lessons, we only learned about the Jewish history. We didn't really learn about our history. We didn't learn about Nakba, about Land Day, about all the stages that the Palestinian people went through. So I returned to the Communist Youth and I asked them to be part of the Communist Youth League in Kufri Asif branch. And little by little, I found out that, okay, there I can really have the real history, and I can really know about my history, my nation history. And then I became kind of leaders in summer camp, and then I had the chance to be a leader in the branch. And after a couple of years, I was in the central committee of the YCLI, and then little by little, I really became a communist. But then, and till today, I think the Communist Youth League give me a chance to be myself, to really know my history, and to be an active to in my society.
I actually have a follow-up question to that. So, because I'm very ignorant actually about the Palestinian experience within Israel, and I think a lot of our readers are as well, just because it's not really, something that is talked about also in the United States. And so I'm wondering, when you went to school, were you instructed in English, Arabic, or Hebrew?
In Arabic.
In
In
Arabic. And
Arabic,
so
and yes, we have in Arabic towns we learn in Arabic, and we also study Hebrew and English, but the main language is Arabic.
and they wouldn't allow you to learn about your own history in Arabic in schools.
Yes, yes, in the books, the history that we learned it about the Jewish catastrophe and the Jewish history, and also about the Islamic history in Saudi Arabia, and a lot of history that it's not really the Palestinian history. And maybe, yes, we learned about the Palestinian history, but in a Jewish way, like how Israel was established and what they made to make it a very good country. But we didn't learn about Nakba and about the really critic about the basic history information. Yeah, some of my teachers were very good teacher that they give us information about our history, and but it's not in a formal way. It's only because they just think that they have a duty to make us aware to our own history. And many of those teachers were communist and leftist activists. That many teachers were forbid to teach because they were communists. They really wanted to teach the students about the Nakba and about the real history. So the Israeli government forbid them to teach anymore.
You've given us a lot of details about the experiences that have shaped you, right? Growing up, where you've grown up, and how you became politicized. But, maybe just for a moment before we go any further in the interview, we also want to ask, if you're comfortable sharing, how has the current war directly affected you and your family and your friends and the village where you grew up and the people that you know?
Mhm. Okay, so as you know, the real war didn't really happen only in the 7th of October, since all the time we have that pressure about the situation in the country, in the West Bank and in Gaza. So, but yes, the 7th of October was really shocked for us. I wasn't in the country, so what I remember that all my family called me to say, please, Liana, don't publish anything in the social media because you are going to be arrested. So after the 7th of October, we found ourselves like really aware about what we say, about what we publish. So I think from the 7th of October till today, we live in under kind of psychological pressure. On one hand, we have the Israeli ID, but on the other hand, we are Palestinians, so we really care about both nations, and also about the Palestinian, also about the Israeli. But seeing all the videos and all the picture about what is going in Gaza, and you are Palestinians, it's really hard. But at the same time, you have the Israeli ID, you can't say that much. So it's really hard. They were very hard month for us, especially in the Arab society.
Have you directly faced any retribution or any surveillance, or those kind of things from the Israeli authorities, particularly since the 7th of October because of your work?
No, for my life, no, I didn't, but many of my friends did. So I locked my social media's profiles, and I think that really worked.
It's got to be really difficult to produce news under those sorts of conditions, though. I hear what you're saying about your own social media and what it is that you are able to say. But how is it that this kind of censorship affects Al-Ittihad as a publication?
Okay. Uh, Al-Ittihad is a communist newspaper, and also it's Arabic Palestinian newspaper. So it's a very it's we see that we are responsible to share the real news and to share the real reports, and also to write it in our own way. That means that, okay, we see what is really happening, and so we have to analyze it in our own way. So after the 7th of October, during the war, we find that, okay, there's a lot of propaganda and a lot of struggles on the way. So we are more aware about what we write, about what we really do in our work in Al-Ittihad. On one hand, we really try to have the real news and the real reports, but on the other hand, we really are aware about our words and about the expression that we use, because as you know, there's a lot of expressions that the Israeli authorities see it as terrorist support. So yes, we try very hard to make it happen, like, again, to be responsible for sharing the true thing that happens and to analyzing it in our own way, but also to be aware to that the Israeli authorities not find any terrorist support expression in our media.
There's been a very long relationship between our two publications, People's World and AlIttihad. I was just looking through some of our archives from the 1970s, and one of our reporters had visited and met with some of the editors and writers from your newspaper, and they talked about the repression, especially that the distributors, the people who were actually handing out the paper out into the streets, the repression that they faced. Both within the borders of Israel, but also inside the occupied territories, trying to distribute AlIttihad in the West Bank, in East Jerusalem, in Gaza. And so I'm wondering, what's the situation today with your ability to get the paper out to readers, and what has been the reception of the public to your message and to the stories and articles that you're printing since the war has started? How have things changed for you?
Okay, unfortunately, we don't have a newspaper in West Bank and East Jerusalem, but we have our own site. So all the people that they want to read our newspaper, they can simply go to our site and read all the articles and all the things that we publish. So for us, it's a very good thing that all Palestinian people can read our own newspaper. Uh, as you know, the Al-Ittihad was banned in West Bank, but in the 1994 it was allowed after a real struggle with the Israeli authorities. But then we have some techniques struggles on the way, but for now we have our own site, so many Palestinians simply enter to the site and read the articles that we publish.
A lot of people here in the United States have been getting their news about what's going on in Palestine and Israel, and especially in Gaza, via social media. Why is it, do you think, that people might consider getting their news mainly from a communist news source like Al-Ittihad over social media? Like, what would be the real differences? Because sometimes people here in the US, they say, oh, well, social media is better because it's more democratic, like it's much more horizontal, it's the real news
Mm.
as opposed to the fake news of the mainstream media. Why do you think that Al Ittihad stands apart in being able to deliver that kind of news to your readers?
Okay, it's really good question. Okay, so, publishing videos and small quotes in social media is very good thing, but I think the people need to see the whole image about the struggle. So, okay, you can see in the social media, but it's not enough. You have to read all the article and to see all the stages of what really happens. So I think social media is only a brief of what is happening in Gaza and West Bank, and also inside Israel. So okay, it's a really good thing. You can, it's a kind of attract the people to read the article. Maybe you can both also videos and images in the social social media, but also you have to have the real article and the long one. So many newspapers also do it. Like we have a brief and to do what really in social media is what really happens in Gaza, but and at the same time you have to read all the article.
I want to come back a little bit to what you were saying earlier about, and this links to what you're talking about. You just described using different forms to reach people, right?
Mm.
You have the website, you have the social media outreach, you have the video work, you have the print newspaper, the longer articles. You're going at it from as many angles as possible, right? And earlier you were talking about how you're very concerned for the future of both peoples. The Jewish Israeli people, the Palestinian Israeli people, the Palestinians in the Palestinian territories. So I'm just wondering if you can describe, how does Al-Ittihad work to build unity between the different peoples there, and what does it see as the common interests of Israeli workers, of Palestinian workers, and all of the peoples that live in this region?
Okay. Uh, Okay, Al-Ittihad is, as we mentioned before, it's a communist newspaper, and as a communist, we believe that only in peace and ending occupation there will be a future and for both people. And in our articles, we make it very clear that without ending occupation and without peace, there is no future for both nations in this land. And also the struggle is also not only between Jewish and Arabs. It's more. It's also workers' struggles that the Israeli authorities try to put it aside. That they only care about settlements, only care about occupation, only cares about the soldiers. So we in Al-Ittihad and also in our sister newspaper Zo Haderekh, we try to make it to work together to make it clear that without peace, without supporting workers' struggles, without ending occupation, we can't have any future. So for us, it's very important to have this voice that it's not very common in the country inside Israel that to say it clear without ending all the occupation and not establishing the Palestinian country, we will not have any future. So also it's we make it clear that the struggle workers also is a very critical thing inside our policy in the newspaper. So we try to make it clear that with those all things we can't have any future.
I have a question about the Communist Party of Israel, because some people in other parts of the world would say that because the Communist Party of Israel pushes for like a two-state solution, that that's not good, that it should be a one-state solution. And some would even call the Communist Party of Israel a Zionist party. We understand that
Mhm.
not to be true, but we would love to hear from you what the position is on the party and why.
Okay, so I have to mention that during the history from 1990 till today, there were many attempts to make the Communist Party in Israel a Zionist party, but those attempts were failed because you can't be a communist and you can't be at the same time a Zionist. To be a communist, you have to be anti-Zionist active, because if you are Zionist, you believe that the occupation should be go on and on, and Israel is a Jewish nation country, so you can't be a communist, and at the same time you can't be a Zionist. So the Communist Party is anti-Zionist party. And as I told you true that there were many attempts to make it a Zionist party, that to say, okay, we have a party that it's a communist, it's a Zionist, they are Arabs and Jewish inside this party. Okay, this we can have a Jewish and Zionist country with a communist thought. But no, it's very important to be clear that you can't be a communist at the same time you can't also be a Zionist. Okay, so believing in two-state solution, that doesn't mean that you support Zionist thought on that. It's not that at all. We see that a first step to have the real solution is ending occupation, removing all the settlements, and to free Gaza, and to have the independent states in Palestine, according to 67 borders. So, and later we can discuss another solution, but the first step is ending the occupation, and it's a very hard step, as we see in the right situation, but it's very important. And I have also to mention another thing, that the one-state solution is kind of wide solution. For example, some says that the one-state solution has to be, okay, what is the current case right now, to have Israeli borders also with West Bank, Gaza, but having the one-state solution. Others says that, okay, we have a one-state solution, but it's not clear what is the one-state solution. It's and remaining all the settlements inside the West Bank, and it's also not a good solution. So we see that the first step to have the true solution is ending the occupation, to have the people inside, the Palestinian people have the real and the independent state. So we see it's very important for the Palestinian people, and also the Palestinian people in the current situation, they have to have their independency. What it's now it's occupation, and occupation, we can't do one state solution with the occupation. So the first step is ending the occupation, and then we can discuss what's going to be on. But the best solution is a solution that both people live in a free way, and to without occupation, without any fascist thought.
You've gotten really, very pragmatic with us. I think our readers will appreciate how real you're getting about the situation, right? When it comes to this sort of two-state versus one-state question, because speaking from someone here in the U.S., this can get very abstract for people at times, right? And they start theorizing, well, this would be the ideal solution. But it's often detached from the reality on the ground, which is what you and your comrades live every day. So I want us to think about for a moment about what does it mean pragmatically to work toward that in the situation that prevails right now, right? Given the scale of what we've seen happen in Gaza, in particular, over these last several months since October 7th, we've seen over 40,000 people killed by the Israeli forces, and we've seen the Netanyahu government inside Israel really ramp up this propaganda campaign, right? This campaign of hatred against Palestinians, and so newspapers like AlIttihad are really working for unity and peace. And at the same time, you have this government, which is working for the complete opposite of that, right? So I'm wondering, what do you see as the prospects right now? How has it changed from before October 7th, this effort to try to build unity, to have the peoples on the different sides to see that this is still the way forward, even as we're in the middle of this terrible war?
I think especially because what's all is going on, it's I think that people has to understand that without unity we can't do anything. The situation isn't complicated since only the 7th of October, but we are talking about 75 years of not really having a true solution. So 7th of October is only one stage of the history. It's really hard stage and really complicated, but it's not the only thing that both the Palestinian and the Israeli went through. And so especially this in this moment, without the Israeli and also the Palestinian has to understand that without unity there is no hope, there is no future. As you said, yes, we have the most, I think it's the most fascist government since establishing Israel, and all the attempts is to the people that not only the Jewish and Arab hate each other, but also inside the Israeli society, the current government want the people to be split, not to have to be split and to hate each other. For example, left and right wing and Mizrahim and Ashkenazim. It's I think the government wants that hatred to be in this country because they want to continue. Netanyahu and his government want they try so hard that the situation stills like this because they want to continue, and they think we see that they think if the hatred and also the war continues, they will continue in the most fascist government. But on the other hand, there's a lot of people, both Israeli and Palestinian, inside Israel. They try so hard to speak up and to say that the current current government will lead the country for nowhere. There's, I think, during the first month in October, it was really hard, but after that, after all what happened, after killing a lot of citizens in Gaza, and many Israeli were killed. I think the Israeli society are beginning to understand that the government is leading them to nowhere. And also this, after 9 months, I guess that they has to understand what the government wants to do, that continue the war and to also to oppress and to continue the occupation, the settlements, and the money all the money in the government when it goes only to settlements and war. The main money that has to be to the education and to the people, the workers, is going to the settlements. So I think that the Israeli society will understand that only with unity, or only with ending the occupation, only with the peace solution, will have a real country. But what is right now, it's they are going nowhere. The fascist government is leading the people for nowhere.
Layana, it's really difficult for people here to see what's going on, especially understanding that a lot of our tax dollars are financing this, that it's the United States government that's sort of enabling this fascistic genocide unfolding in Gaza to happen. And so I was wondering if you might be able to share with our readers what it is that you think we can do. What is our responsibility here as communists and as communist journalists inside of the United States to try and stop this slaughter?
Okay, so we are seeing all your attempts and inside universities, inside the society to affect and to make a really affection on the society, that to end the genocide and to cease fire in Gaza and to end the occupation. So we see that what is happening in the United States is kind of blessed, but I think that that you have also to affect the government to make it stop their support to Israel and to stop the support to continue the genocide. But we see that you do what the best that you can, and we really find it very important. All the protests and all the activities that you do is very important for us. And I wish that you can continue and to raise up our voice and to raise up the true people that they want to end the occupation, and also to see the true image about what is happening inside Israel and what is happening in the West Bank, East Jerusalem, and Gaza.
I think it's very important that you've been on this program, Layana, to share this information with us, the experiences that you've had directly on the ground, because voices like yours are not ones that are heard a lot in the US mainstream corporate media, whether it be on the television networks, in the big newspapers. The people in our country don't have the opportunity to really hear from people who are working for peace. Instead, they hear from spokespeople from the IDF or from the Netanyahu government. So we wanted to just give you, one more chance to share anything else that you wish the people of the U.S. knew about the situation inside Israel or in the occupied territories that would maybe inform us to be even better in our work to fight for the ceasefire and to halt the weapons shipments.
I think that the Arab society inside Israel have many struggles that they face daily, not from today, not from the 7th of October, but we face as an Arab, as a Palestinian who lives in Israel, a lot of struggles that it didn't really start today. And I think that there is kind of lack of information for that all over the world. I think you really know, you hear a lot about Gaza, you hear a lot about the West Bank, about the occupation, but you don't really hear about the Arab citizens who are Palestinian and also lives inside Israel. Many of the people, maybe the government uses us to say that okay, we have Arabs in the Israel country, they live okay, they have a good living. If they live, for example, in Syria and Jordan, they will have not that good living. But it's not that true, because as Arab society we face a lot of troubles and we face a lot of stereotype and a lot of struggles. And also the fascist government with Netanyahu and Ben Gvir, they really attack the Arab society and try very hard to make it a kind of violent and society. In the past couple of years, we face the main problem is the organized crime that the government and the police, I think they know very clear who's the responsible and who's leading all the mafia and the organized crime. But they want it to continue, because for them, if the Arab society only think about the organized crime and only fear about their own living, they will not raise their voice about living, about education, about ending the genocide. They have what to face. So the Arab society, we have to raise up the Arab society that lives inside Israel. And it's very important, because since you know about what the Arab society inside Israel face, the image will be more completed. You will see that all the Israeli attempts to make the Palestinian people all over the place, like not for example, the Palestinian people who lives inside Israel will face the organized crime. In Gaza, they will face the war and the siege, and on the West Bank, they will face the occupation. So for them, it's it's perfect. We give the Arab society the organized crime to deal with, and then we can they cannot think about anything else. So I think it's very important to raise up our voice and to say to the whole world that yes, we exist, and we have struggles, and we have to raise up our voice against occupation and against the fascist government with Netanyahu and Ben Gvir and all the gang.
Absolutely. Layana, thank you so much again for coming and speaking with us and our readers today. We really deeply appreciate it. And I think it's our hope that in the future we can build stronger between our two publications so that we can do exactly what it is that you are saying is necessary and that I think CJ and I would agree with, which is, raising up the voices of Palestinians who are living in Israel and letting our readers know a little bit more about the situation there so that we can use that information in sort of mounting a better fight back here in the United States. So just thank you again for joining us. It really means a lot to us, and I know it means a lot to our readers. CJ, is there anything else that you wanted to add?
Thank you so much, Leona. And as Taryn said, we really look forward to building the relationship between our two publications and bringing more facts to the readers in both countries. And anything that we can do to be of assistance, we're here.
It's our pleasure. Thank you again for having me today, and it's very important for us. Thank you.